better. I like using you as my blotter.
What's the word I'm looking for? The palpitations. I was gonna say something else and I just forgot what it was. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Hold on. All right. It is not my favorite of his. About a monster.
About a monster.
A monster.
Yeah.
All right.
The third love of my life next to this man in Wilfred and Brimley is Gady
Gady Hendrix. Gady Hendrix.
I don't know.
We're back. We're so excited. It's almost here. Can you feel it's coming?
Electricity.
Yeah. Welcome back to our channel. We are Shelf-Possessed.
I'm David.
And I'm Craig. And we have a very special video for you today. We are here to show you our final Girlathon TBR. These are some stacks that we have here. Are you excited about these books?
I'm excited about it because I don't have to work that week. That is my week off, technically.
Well, we've really made an effort to barrel through our previous TBR that you saw in our last video.
Did you finish yours?
Yes.
Okay,
well, I have one more technically, but I haven't gotten it from the library yet, so I might just tag it on at the end of the month. We'll see. But we really worked hard for these first 2 weeks of July to finish that, so that we could really focus on our final Girlathon TBR during the week of our Readathon. Before we get too deep into it, if you don't remember or you haven't seen this before, I will link the video in the description box below. But we are hosting our first annual Readathon, the
Final Girlathon.
July 24th to the 30th. So this video will be coming at you the week before that, so you have some time to prepare. We also have a video coming out where we'll just do straight up recommendations for every prompt. Not necessarily the books that we're reading, but books that if you are interested and you are having trouble finding a book for that prompt, we'll give you about 4 or 5 books for each prompt to take a look at so that you can get ready for it. I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, like the video, comment down below what you think of our TBR. Let us know what you think of our choices. Subscribe if you haven't. It helps us so much if you subscribe. And then share the video with someone who you think might enjoy this readathon. What we did for our TBRs is we basically went through each prompt and we picked a book for each prompt. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to read all of these books, but we have a book for each prompt just in case we need it. Some of these books I'm excited to read, but some of them I'm like, I may not like this as I get into it because I don't know a whole lot about it. And so I may be able to DNF some things or to put some things aside to still try to get my bingo in other ways, right? And we've tried to pick books that we currently own, but some of the books we are going to be purchasing before the week. So that we can add to our library, I guess. So the Final Girlathon is our first ever week-long readathon where we have 10 prompts and a bingo board that you can choose up to 4 books to get you any bingo. There's also a bunch of bonus activities that you can do that will help you get more points, and that by the end of the week, you'll total your points, share them with us, and then we'll all kind of see where we compare. So, okay. All right, should we go through it? All right, so prompt number 1, inspired by Laurie Strode from Halloween, which is read a book set on a holiday or on Halloween if you want to be specific. So, what are you reading for that?
Okay, so I wanted to start very easy and try to get myself ready for this. So I wanted to go back to the basics. So I kind of went with R.L. Stein, Silent Night 3. This is the only book in this series that I have not read yet. Like I said previously in another video, Readathon is one of my favorite characters, especially when I was a kid, because she's horrible, she's mean, but you just love to hate her. But this is the only one that I haven't read in this specific Silent Night series, so I'm excited for that. Also, I wanted to jump in and give some love to our buddy Cameron Chaney's book, Autumn Crow, as well. So I'm going to dive into that. So that's my holiday horror selection. So
I want to read Autumn Crow too, because I haven't read it yet.
So yeah.
Good choices.
So that'll be good to start out with.
I also have two choices for this. One I have and one I do not. The one I don't have is called Secret Santa, and I'll put up the cover right here. It's supposed to be this kind of like super silly, ridiculous horror novel that's set during an office Christmas party. So I'm going to be purchasing that. And then the other one I have is Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. Started it a year ago and DNF'd it. So it is set technically around a holiday, so I was going to maybe try to finish this one as well, because I also have the audiobook for this. So I was like, maybe I can kind of scoot on through this pretty quickly. So that's an option for me as well. So Secret Santa and Kill Creek.
Also set where we live.
Yes.
As well.
Yep.
So,
which is another reason to be excited about it. And another reason why I wanted to read it. So we'll see which one ends up kind of making the final cut. So now, prompt number 2, inspired by Sally Hardesty from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This one is a little bit more horror-based, I suppose, but read a book that involves cannibalism in some way. I do have a book for the cannibalism prompt. It's a book that you're very familiar with on this channel, that we've talked about quite a bit, but I've never read, and only this one is read. And I am finally going to read A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers, which I have not yet read. Mostly because I've been a little afraid to read it. I don't do body horror very often, and like cannibalism for me is like in body horror. And I know there's a lot of that in here. But I so enjoy Chelsea, and I enjoy her as a personality. I enjoy, listening to David talk to her. And I like her a lot, and I want to read this book. I've just been so nervous to read it. Also, he loves it so much, so I'm nervous how I will feel about it, but I do want to read it, so I'm going to do this one for sure. This is a for sure one for me to do. So my cannibalism choice is still A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers, which I'm sure he's excited about too. Prompt number 3, inspired by Alice Hardy from Friday the 13th. Read a book that involves camping or a summer camp in some way. So what are you going to do?
I have not read all of Riley Sager's books, and Craig has. So he kind of told me I should probably kind of jump into The Last Time I Lied. So this is the only one I haven't read yet, and it is set in a summer camp. So I'm going to try that. Hopefully it can be redeeming.
So my pick for prompt number 3 about camping or summer camps is The Laws of the Skies, a translated work. It is about a class of 6-year-olds heading into the forest for a camping trip, and then something comes forth for them. I've heard really great things about this book. It is a translated book, and it's a scant little baby. Only, what is it? Less than 150 pages. So I think I can probably get through this one pretty quickly, which I'm excited by. I've seen this all over when I was making my recommendation list, and it looked really good, so I'm excited to read it. And then David bought it for me.
I don't remember.
You did.
Did I?
Yeah, you bought this for me.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So, and I love the cover.
Wait, I did. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. Okay.
The cover is like an ancient woods, and then it has like this giant blood splatter on it. So I was really excited about that one.
The next one is Nancy Thompson, A Nightmare on Elm Street. That prompt is read a book about nightmares or dreams.
And we are both going to read the same book here, because I was lucky enough to get an arc of Daphne by Josh Malerman. I'll put the cover up right here. And you said that someone said, what about this book?
There was a blurb about it saying how she was like, Daphne is like the female Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay.
So that's what piqued my interest.
Yeah.
In reading it.
And it is essentially about, this was also on our quarter 3 5-star prediction, so this is another reason why we're going to choose this book as well. But it's essentially about a high school basketball team, and they're preparing for a big game, but then someone tells a ghost story about this young woman named Daphne, who was murdered or killed in some way, and then comes back whenever you think about her. And so then they kind of just start to figure out that this might actually be true. So I think it does fit within the nightmares and dreams category as well. Mm-hmm. So that is Daphne by Josh Malerman. That's our next one.
Yoo-hoo!
Yeah. It's inspired by Sidney Prescott from Scream, which is read a book that involves a killer who wears a mask. Not maybe this one, you know. My choice is one that I don't have yet, but I'm going to have soon, and that is The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones, which is one I've been meaning to read for a long time. I just haven't. And it is about a group of teenagers who go camping in the woods or something in the woods, and a killer in a Michael Jackson mask is stalking them, which is frightening in and of itself. And it's a short book. It's like a novella, so it will be a pretty easy get through for that week as well. And I had tended to like Stephen Graham Jones quite a bit.
So my pick for the
Prompt number 5,
Killer That Wears a Mask. 4 words, really. That's really all I have to say is clown in a cornfield. That's it. That's all you need, right?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair too, because my Stephen Graham Jones one is a novella and I have yet to read that, I might also read that one. All right, the next prompt that we chose a book for is number 6, which is inspired by Julie James from I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that is read a book about secrets. A very broad prompt. There's a lot of books about secrets. I could not choose, so I chose 2 books, and we'll kind of see what wins. So my first choice is Sarah Gailey's Just Like Home, which was on our quarter 3 5-star predictions. And funny story about this book doesn't come out until the 19th of this month. So if you want to get it, you can get it that day. But I was at Barnes & Noble. I was at Barnes & Noble earlier this week, and I was looking, and this was just sitting on the shelf. And so I bought it because I was like, this shouldn't be here. It's not out yet, but there it was. So I got it. So that's my one book about secrets. This is about a young woman who returns home to find out that there was a serial killer living in her house, and there's some secrets about her father that come out. So, and my next one that I chose isn't technically a horror book, I don't think. But I saw it and I put it on my list, and then David bought it for me. And it has a pull quote from Rachel Yoder, who wrote Night Bitch. And that's How to Be Eaten by Maria Adelman, which is about a bunch of fairy tale characters coming together in a modern setting and kind of realizing that there's some secrets that they have between them and that somebody may have lied to them. I also got the audio for this, which I was super excited by too. And this came out this year. So it sounds like it has some horrific elements to it, and kind of deals with trauma a little bit too. So those are my 2 for book about secrets.
I don't think my high school experience was this bad, but the one that I chose for this is I went back to basics and I went with Stephen King's Carrie, one of my all-time favorite Stephen King books, and his first book, actually. So I went back to that because it's been a very long time since I read this.
Also, it's relatively short too, which is good.
Which is very nice.
Yeah, it'll be easy for you to get through. Our next category is inspired by Adelaide Wilson from the movie Us, which is read a book about doppelgangers or doubles. And we both have one for this. Mine is quite small and David's is quite large. You want to do yours?
I don't know if I'm going to get through it or not. I'm going to hold out until it's maybe the last one that I pick up, but that is Stephen King's The Outsider. We'll kind of see. We'll see how the week goes. If I am fired up, by Wednesday maybe.
But we loved that series, the miniseries that was on HBO. It was quite good. Mine is one, I think you saw this a while back, but mine is The Haunting of Henry Twist by Rebecca F. John, which is about a young couple, and the wife dies, and then suddenly a man comes knocking at this husband's door, and he believes that he is the reincarnated wife, and so this man has to figure out if this is actually his wife, or if this is just a con man. So it has that kind of doppelganger double idea where someone's, they think that they're the same person. So I've been wanting to read this for a long time, and it's a good excuse to read it. Not technically a horror novel, but kind of a ghost story, so it does kind of fit in that vein.
Okay, the next one is she's in my top 5 greatest final girls, and that is Ellen Ripley in Alien.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens, I think, is a better movie, but read a book set in space or about aliens, and I think we can even open that up to sci-fi as well. I jumped into the deep with Nick Cutter. So that is the one that I'm picking for that prompt.
I'll be curious how you feel about that, because the Troop was so gross to me. It was like body horror.
I love the Troop.
And you loved it.
I love the Troop.
But I want to know how you feel, because I don't know if this one's going to have body horror in it or not. But if it doesn't, I will be happy to read it. But if it doesn't, no. Well, mine is it's more in the sci-fi vein, but it does involve time travel in space in some way. Our library just had their annual library sale, and they had an ARC copy of The Paradox Hotel by Rob Hart, which is a time-traveling murder mystery space thing. So I picked this up for like $1, which I was super excited about. And it just came out this year. It came out in February. So I'm going to choose this one for my number 8. Number 9 is inspired by Danny Arter from Midsommar, which is read a book that is considered folk horror. So what are you going to choose?
I am going to choose Shirley Jackson's The Lottery.
Good choice.
Yeah, which is here.
We're going to get that one from the library. I am going to do one that you recommended to me, which is Shay Earnshaw's A History of Wild Places, which is, you said it would be considered folk horror. Why is that?
There's a rule setting, and there's some...
I started this book. I just didn't finish it.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a rural setting, yes. So, and there's some folklore involved. And culty-like stuff.
Yes.
I remember that much from what I read.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And our last prompt is inspired by...
Jerry Lynn from Demon Knight. You have not watched it.
We're going to
watch it during that week, because he has not watched it. And that is read a book about demons.
Yeah. So what is your demon book?
Grady Hendrix, We Sold Our Souls. I have not read this yet, and Craig bought this for me a few weeks ago. So this is the only one that I haven't read.
That's his first one, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. It deals a lot with music and stuff.
And demons.
Which 2 of my favorite things.
Yeah. I have 2 choices for my demon one, because I can't decide. One I want to read, and one that he wants me to read. And so I haven't really figured it out, but I also want to read that one.
Okay.
So the first, you might have to say what these are about, because you've read both of these and I haven't. So the first one is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell, which you saw David get this for his birthday. This is about a couple that goes into the woods in the winter, right? And then something attacks them.
Something enters their lives. I think it has a lot to do with relationships. Caring for a loved one who might or might not be possessed.
So that's number 1 for me. The second one is one he has also read that he told me I should read, which is Matthew Lyon's A Black and Endless Sky, which you said is like a road trip story gone wrong.
Very wrong.
Yeah.
Very wrong.
And I actually just was able to get this audio from the library, so it's like no audio. Which one am I going to choose? Probably this one. But those are my 2 choices for my demons.
Okay.
One.
There's 2 more that I want to share that I've read kind of numerous times over the years. If you're a huge horror fan like I am, you kind of know these 2 books. They should be on your bookshelf, first of all. The first one is by Robin Means Coleman, and that is Horror Noir. And it talks about the Black experience in horror movies, and I think it's from 1890s to the present day. A lot of important commentary on the Black and brown experience in horror films that I think it's extremely important. Also, there's a documentary
on
on
Shudder.
Shudder that kind of digs through this.
And it was
it's
really like
really interesting.
I watched that documentary with him, and it is great, and that makes me want to read that book. But if you haven't seen that, or you don't have a subscription to Shudder, you should. So many great horror movies and documentaries about horror on Shudder.
Yeah.
So
that's a favorite of mine, and also a classic, Carol Clover's Men, Women, and Chainsaws. It's kind of takes us back to where the final girl trope kind of came from. She kind of unpacks that for the reader, and it's a little heady. I think some people think it's pretty slow, but I think once you kind of get into it and you start to understand, it kind of makes you look at horror films in a very different lens.
well, it's nonfiction. It's not meant to be a narrative necessarily. It's meant to talk about why these tropes exist and where they come from. So,
But I love that shit.
yeah, like we said in the beginning, we did pick books for every prompt. That does not mean that we are going to read all of these books, but these are our to be read pile for the Final Girl-a-thon. Trying to get bingos. So we're going to look at the board and we're going to choose the best options for our bingo. And then if we get through those and we happen to have more time during that week, we have more books to choose from. So we will probably not get to all of these this time around, but we do know that we have them if we need them. Of your TBR pile, which ones do you think you're the most excited to read?
I will say I'm excited to read The Deep and We Sold Our Souls. Those are the top two that I'm interested in. But now, talking about horror noir, I want to kind of go back and reread that again. I don't know if I'm going to get to The Outsider, but that's very low on my list. But there's two Stephen King, so I think one will probably be enough
for now.
Yeah. But I'm also
plenty of
excited
time.
to read Cameron's book. I'm excited to read about Reva Dalby again. Riley Sager, I was a little miffed about The House Across the Lake, but we'll see how that one goes. So that's a little low on my list, and then Clown in a Cornfield, I think it's just going to be fun.
I mean, there's probably only two, maybe three that are definites for me right now, and that is A Certain Hunger. So I know number 2 is going to be X'd off completely. The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones, and probably either The Laws of the Skies or Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. Those are two I definitely want to read as well.
I think Daphne too.
Oh, and Daphne,
I'm
yes.
I'm excited about that, but
and we'll both read it, so that'll be the interesting thing. Is one of us on our phone, one of us on our iPad, reading this book at the same time.
Yeah.
And then being able to talk about it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So comment down below. What are you choosing for your Final Girl-a-thon TBR? What's on your list? Are you reading any of the same books? I would love to know if any of you are reading the same things that we're reading or are inspired by what we're reading. And then let us know what you are reading. What are you choosing for each prompt, or for the prompts that you want to do. And if you haven't already, or if you're not following us on Instagram, you should.
At @shelf_possessed.
We have a lot of cool stuff coming out that is Instagram specific, away from the YouTube channel a little bit. We'll do a video walking you through everything a little bit, but we will put out recommendations for each prompt on our Instagram stories, and then give you the option of screenshotting and creating your own recommendations for each prompt so that you can share those as well, and then we can repost them. We'll also have templates for the week where you can post your TBR, post your bonus activities. There'll be things for you to tally your points and post your points at the end of the week. A lot of cool stuff for you to do on Instagram, outside of the YouTube stuff as well. So if you're not following us there, follow us there. Shelf_possessed is our main one. If you want to follow me, mine is Overly Shelf Aware, and I'll pop that up there. If you want to track our progress for the week, you can follow us both on Storygraph, where we'll be updating our progress. You can also follow me on Goodreads as well. So check that out. Also, there is merch for the Final Girl-a-thon. So if you haven't yet purchased your merch, and for the handful of you that have, thank you so much. We're so excited. Ours is yet to come in, but when we get it, we will share that with you. The merch link is in the description box below, and I'll flash up some photos of the merch. Just excited to see people wearing something that I designed, which is cool. So pick up your merch if you haven't. So yeah, that's all the stuff. Keep coming back to our channel, like the video, share this with somebody if you are so inclined, comment down below, and subscribe if you can, and keep checking back because we've got some fun stuff to prepare you for our final Girlathon, and then that week, we're just gonna throw a lot of stuff at you, so I hope that you're ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, I am Craig.
And I am Michael Myers' little brother, David.
And we are Shelf Possessed. Thank you for coming, and we will see you in the next one.